What's up, guys? It's Andrew Murdoch, and this is Blue Collar and Rich. Today I interviewed Phebe Trotman for you guys. Phebe is involved with a company called Send Out Cards, and she is killing it. She is doing so well, plus she loves seeing people succeed. So I interviewed her and put her on Blue Collar and Rich because this is a way you can start growing a side income and perhaps even one day completely replace your entire full-time income. And it's also a great way for you to do some outsourcing. For those of you who aren't familiar with Send Out Cards, it's a way for you to stay in touch with loved ones, clients, family members, and actually get them a physical card in the mail, which is kind of a unique thing these days because there's a lot of emails in your inbox I'm willing to bet that you haven't opened up. But if you get that card in the mail, you're definitely going to open that up because now that actually sets you apart these days, right? So I thought this was a fantastic opportunity to share this with you guys. Check out the interview.
Okay, guys, here we are. We're going to get going here. Phebe Trotman is a successful entrepreneur from British Columbia, Canada. She also holds numerous athletic awards, including BC Sports Hall of Fame and Museum Team Induction, W League Championship, W League Player of the Year, NAIA Championship, NAIA Player of the Year, and two-time All-American. As a retired professional athlete, she transferred her athletic success and lessons from the soccer pitch into the entrepreneurial world. When she found network marketing, the thing she loved most about the profession was the opportunity to create teams where everyone is welcome to play at their very best. She is driven by her passion to help others discover their true calling and live their best life. Phebe believes everyone should have the opportunity to experience success. A top team builder in her company, Phebe is the recipient of numerous company incentive trips and multiple awards, including top international customer sponsor, trainer of the year, and runner-up distributor of the year. She attributes her success to an incredible team of business partners who have developed a culture fueled by the power of recognition and appreciation. Phebe, thank you so much for being here on Blue Collar and Rich. Love having you here.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's totally an honor to be able to hop on here with you. I just am such a fan of yours and truly just appreciate everything that you're doing. So thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. So let's get right into it here. The first question I got for you here is a good one to start things off. Why don't you take us back to the very beginning of your journey? What were the first few steps that you took?
For sure. Absolutely. So it's crazy how time just goes by so quickly. But when I was playing soccer, I was playing down in the States for a season, and then I came back to Vancouver and played for our Vancouver Whitecaps team here. But at the same time I was playing, I was also working full time. So my schedule was absolutely insane. I'd work all day, I'd come home, grab a quick bite, and I'd be on the field training. And I have a degree in kinesiology and nutrition. And so I did things kind of the traditional route, right? Went to university, had my degree, came out, got a job, was playing soccer at the same time. And I got to a point, I remember this one day, I walked into my boss's office to ask for time off to go on a road trip with my team. And he kind of hesitated a little bit when I gave him the dates. And it was in that hesitation that it truly hit me that I was not in control of my time. It hit me that what if he said like, well, no, sorry, you can't go. I would have had to make a choice. And it worked out okay. I was able to go, but it really became that catalyst because it made me realize I wasn't in control of my time. I knew I wasn't in control of my income because he was the one, signing the paychecks, but it was that time. And I knew if I ever wanted to have control of my time, I needed to become an entrepreneur. I needed to have a business. I needed to take charge of my future. And so I started with what I knew, which was soccer. So I started a coaching company for kids, teaching kids how to play soccer. And I do still coach, absolutely a passion of mine. But when I started my coaching company, I was telling a friend about it, and he told me to read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I know you're a big fan of that book as well, too. And I read that book, and in that book, in the terms of the cash flow quadrant, and friends, if you've never read that book, highly recommend, get it and read it. It's phenomenal. And in the book, Robert Kiyosaki, the author, he talks about the concept of having your money work for you and the concept of passive income. And I always like to explain passive income this way, just in case people are new to it. We have our linear income, which is, our job income. You work one time, you get paid once. So when I was on the soccer field or when I was working my full-time job, I'd work a certain amount of hours, I'd get paid a certain amount, right? Work once, get paid once. And then the idea of passive income is you work one time, but you get paid over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and you can keep going. And so when I was reading this book, I was like, I want to create that passive income. I want a business where that money comes in. And so I started actually investing in real estate investing because I thought, I found a mentor, started learning about real estate investing, and started with the whole goal of generating cash flow properties to generate that passive income. And I always joke, it was a very expensive education, which you learn from things, and I definitely learned a lot. And when I was investing in real estate, I had some team, and I did have a mentor, and I realized it wasn't necessarily my thing in terms of that. And it was a struggle to generate cash flow properties. So a friend of mine, actually how I even got into the current business that I'm in right now, I got a card in the mail, and totally blown away by it. And I called my friend to say thank you. And he's a successful entrepreneur himself. And one thing I did learn very early on is that success leaves clues. So if there's something you want in life, you find someone who has it and just kind of do what they do. And when I called him to say thank you, I was curious how he sent that card, because it had a beautiful, like pictures of us and just a powerful message. And nowadays, all our mailboxes are filled with bills and junk mail. And so I got it, and I called him to say thank you. And I was curious how he did it. And he shared my current company with me. And I was just, when I saw it, I was blown away, because it's new age technology. It's combining old school principles with new age technology. And I thought, this makes sense. And so I got started and just started using the service, started sharing it with people who I thought could benefit from it. And not long after that, my full-time job, the company went bankrupt. So here's a little lesson for everybody. You never know when life's going to shift on you. And looking back, it turned out to be a big blessing. But at the time, it was pretty nerve-wracking, because when you're out of work, it's like, okay, well, now what? And thankfully, I had some income coming in from, I had my coaching company, I had real estate investing, I had my new business. And so thankfully, I had some money coming from that, and gave me some time to make some choices. And I realized that entrepreneurship, I was focused on my business, and I knew it made sense. And so here we are now. I get to work with amazing people and connect with awesome people like you.
Awesome. I love it. That's a fantastic story. Thanks for sharing with us, because you touched on a few points there that are extremely valuable. The whole one and done philosophy, right? You work an hour, you get paid for that hour, versus the concept of passive income that, I don't know about you, but they didn't really talk about that at all with me back in school. And we've all been, we've all heard that saying before, that putting all your eggs in one basket is a very risky strategy, but that is what we were all taught to do by going out there and getting a job. One and done, you get your paycheck, start all over again, do it again. Not to mention the fact that the company that you might be working for could go bankrupt and close. You could get fired, you could get injured, something bad could happen, and now you're again starting all over again from scratch, right? So you touched on some very valuable points there. So after your initial success, what made you continue? What were you feeling at the time to that drive, that desire to keep going?
Well, one of the things, I've always had goals in life, whether it was on the soccer field or when I started a business. And I've always, it's really important to figure out why you're doing what you're doing and where do you want to go with it. And I always, I share this analogy is, if you're at a bus stop and a bus pulls up, and on the bus, the little header there, it's completely blank. Well, what's the first question someone's going to ask you when the doors open? They're going to be like, well, where's the bus going? And people aren't going to, hop on. And if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to be able to inspire other people to move forward in life? And so I always, in my mind, I have certain goals that I want to hit. I want to help a lot of people. I've always wanted to be able to have the time and the resources from a financial standpoint to do a lot of giving. 2011, I went to Kenya, and it was such an eye-opening experience about how many people are they're so blessed with what they have, but also how can we help them even have more? And so that's always been a big drive for me, is to be able to be there for my friends, my family, different charities. And so when you have those strong visions of where you're going, it naturally pulls you to it, as long as you continue to take action towards it. And there's just so many people in the world. I'm blessed to be a part of a network marketing team, and I love working every time a new person joins our team, seeing that light bulb, that goal, that hope, that where they want to go in their goals. And so that drives me to want to continue to help others create success. And I would say success is whatever, to each person, they have their own definition of success. So my goal is always to help people create success in what it looks like for them.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I fully believe in that as well. Everyone has their own definition, and it seems like you are certainly driven by the abundance mindset. In my experience, many employees out there have a very restrictive, a strong scarcity mindset, and it's that abundance mindset that will keep you moving forward, even on those difficult days too, right? Because entrepreneurship is just like anything else, whether you're full time or part time. You're going to have the good days and bad days just like anybody else, right? So I love that. That's a fantastic motivation there. So can you give us a quick overview of your business today? What does that picture look like?
Absolutely. So I work with people all over the world. I help them. So the name of the company is Send Out Cards. So Send Out Cards is a unique system that allows you to send a real physical personal greeting card literally from your smartphone. So we have an app that you can download and you can literally send out physical cards. So they go in the mail, they'll go out in your own handwriting. You can add your own signature. You can even add a gift. And the company literally will print the card, stuff it in an envelope, stamp it, and mail it. You can brand the back of the card. So for companies and organizations, they're able to brand the back. So I work with companies and organizations, business owners who are looking to differentiate themselves in the marketplace and set themselves out in the marketplace by using this tool as a relationship marketing tool. Say thank you, nice to meet you, thinking of you, happy birthday, all those occasions that we should celebrate other people's lives as a business owner, but we're often so busy that we don't get a chance to do it. With this app, it makes it simple. And then so that's the service side of it. And then I help people who are looking for a way to generate additional cash flow. I help them follow our simple system that we've literally laid out so people can follow a cookie cutter system. Because one of the things I always encourage people when you're looking at a business, evaluating a business, investments, anything, you want to make sure that there's a proven track record for success. And we have that with our team. And so it's a brilliant tool for everybody, because gratitude is one of those things. It needs to be an action. Who are you grateful for? Reach out to them. And I'm sure as I'm talking, the listeners, people are popping up in your mind. And what I'd also like to do, Andrew, anyone who does want to try the app out, just have them message me. We'll talk about that later, how they can get in touch with me. And I'll give them a chance. They can try it out for free and send a card to someone that, they need to connect with, that is on their heart, because time is short and it's important to act on those promptings, as you will, when they come up. And so it's a great service. And it's an even more powerful business because you're now able to literally get paid for being nice to people and sharing this app with other people and create that residual income that's so important to have in life.
That's fantastic. There's a couple of things that you mentioned there that I want to highlight for people too, because and you mentioned I think it was a Jim Rohn quote earlier on there, that success leaves clues, right?
Absolutely.
That's a big one. That's a big one, because I feel like a lot of people will look at the system that has already been proven, but then they feel like they need to change it or tweak it. And I always try to remind people, don't go reinvent the wheel. There are lots of successful people out there that are very successful because they modeled that system from someone else who's successful. It's very rare that someone comes up with something entirely unique on their own and it just knocks it out of the park, right? So there's something to be said for people that are coachable, that you can just identify success in someone else and say, I can do that, and then the other aspect that you pointed out there is I want to emphasize for people that this is a business opportunity, but it's also giving you the ability to outsource and take something off of your plate. So even if you don't have a business currently with clients that you're trying to reach out to, but you have a massive network, family, friends, and you just want to take something off of your plate so that everyone gets that birthday card or holiday greeting card from you every year without you having to sit down and write 100 cards out. That's amazing too. And then now you're staying top of mind on these loved ones, and they're having all these positive memories and feelings about you because now they're getting a physical card in the mail from you versus emails, like you were pointing out there just a minute ago there. Like, how many people open up all their emails? That doesn't happen anymore. A physical card has gone from the norm to now this is a special event, and that's pretty unique. I love that. So very cool. So here's an interesting question. So have you received any pushback? Has anyone given you a hard time?
That's an interesting question. I think in life, there's always going to be people who are going to be your biggest cheerleaders, and there's going to be people who they may love you, but they're still challenged by your drive. And I think a big piece of it, and I learned this from a mentor very early on, is sometimes for them it's challenging because they see you going forward, and it makes them realize that they had the same opportunity, they just didn't take it, or they just don't want to necessarily go for it. So I've been very fortunate. I have a very supportive family. Amazing friend circle. I did have some friends early on that weren't, super supportive of it, but I always really believe everyone's on their own path and their own journey. And so you have to respect people for where they're at and focus on the people around you who are your biggest cheerleaders. And that's why it's so important to find mentors. It's so important to find those people who are going to cheer you on and who are going to say, hey, you can do it. And what is your dream? Oh my gosh, that dream's amazing. Go for it. Versus the ones who, may be a little bit like, really? that's what you want to do. And so it is a journey, as you said, Andrew. You know, you're gonna have good days and bad days, and it's important when you find those bad days happen. Who are you going to go to? Who's your circle that you can go to and say, hey, you know what, this just happened, and that person's gonna be like, oh, yeah, that happened to me all the time. Don't worry about it. Keep going. You're good. You know, so thankfully I didn't have too many really challenging experiences other than the ones that we have within ourselves. And I do believe that is why personal development is so important, because it's what's in here. It's what we're saying to ourselves that can keep us in the game or take us out of the game, more so, I think, than what anyone else can say. Because if you're confident in where you're going, if you know where you're going, if you're growing yourself, whatever other people are going to say, you'll just, okay, thank you for sharing, and you're going to keep going forward, because everyone has an opinion, right? And that's okay. It's whether or not we allow that opinion to land on us, or we say thanks for sharing and we keep moving forward.
Yeah, so true. The self-speak is powerful, and the reason why I love asking that question so much is because the self-speak, for some reason, I feel like at times 10 when perhaps a loved one comes down on you saying, oh, why are you doing that? You know, why are you wasting your time? And then the self-speak kicks in, and it times 10s. It just multiplies that factor many times, and then you stop yourself before you even get started. So it's thanks for sharing that, because that's powerful. I feel like everyone has that loved one or that friend that's just giving them a hard time with trying to step outside of their comfort zone, or I should say expand their comfort zone. Because you mentioned it here too. Actually, I think that they feel threatened because you are trying to level up. You are trying to step your game up, and they're comfortable staying at that level. They don't want to lose you as a contact or a friend or part of their network, and they try to do what they can to stifle maybe any progress or growth on your part, which is really sad that sometimes we come across that. But I think all entrepreneurs, or anyone that has that drive or ambition to move forward has run into that problem. So
absolutely. And I really think it's important to just really love people where they're at, and realize that, you know, everybody's on their own path. Everyone's on their own journey. You as an entrepreneur may hit that journey sooner than, you know, someone else. And that's okay. How can you now be that supportive person for them as they come along? And just keep focusing and keep knowing where you're going will really help eliminate those opinions landing on you when you are really focused on where you're going.
Thanks for that. Yeah, that's powerful. Very powerful. So this might just step into the next question here. So what are the biggest challenges you see people coming across, and how do people find success in spite of these obstacles?
Well, big part, personal development. What are you listening to? I heard really early on, 87% of everything that we see, hear, read is negative. So if that is what you're surrounded by, again, that self-talk that we've been talking about, it's going to be a challenge. So what are you listening to? What are you reading? I'm a big fan of reading a little bit every single day. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember hearing from another mentor, it was like, if you read 10 pages of a good book every day, you know, the number of books you'll read in a year is transformational, right? So many of us, I remember when I was in university and we're reading all our textbooks, and then we leave school and it's like the books go away, but really that's when the books should be coming out even more, and finding great books that you can read, finding YouTube. I mean, thank goodness for YouTube. You can search Jim Rohn, you can search Les Brown, you can search these incredible people, you know, Tony Robbins. I could go on and on and on, so I'll stop there.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right? Of people that you can learn from. So who are you surrounding yourself with? You know, if you can get to a live event where some of these incredible people are speaking and training, go to a live event, because live events are truly that powerful. But in the beginning, books, Amazon, right? You can go to a library and take out books. If it's a financial thing, go to a library. There's really no reason to not, other than it's a choice. It truly is a choice. And I do believe every single person needs a personal development plan. You want to have affirmations that are supportive. And so I think, unfortunately, that's one of the challenges is we come into a business, or we decide we're going to be an entrepreneur, but we're stepping a little bit of a foot in, but are we truly doing what entrepreneurs are doing to create the success? And one of the things too is we often see the limelight of the person, but what about the journey? You know, I was at, just totally blank. Why am I blanking? Which is hilarious. John C. Maxwell. I cannot believe I just blanked. Incredible author, trainer, leadership guru. And he was sharing this about how so many people, like you'll have people come up and, oh my goodness, I would love to have what you have. And his question is, are you willing to do what I did to have what I have? And I think that's something that us as entrepreneurs, we need to look for, because we may be looking at someone going, oh, I want what they have. But do you know what they did behind the scenes to get there? Do you know about them staying up late or getting up early, reading books, starting their day with gratitude, meditation, going to the gym, working out? Like, do we know all the components of it? And I think that can be a challenge for some, is because we see something and we want it now. We're all about that now mentality, myself included. When I first started, I was like, well, I want that now. And it's like, we have to grow into that. We have to, there is a price to pay. It's worth it, but there are things that we have to do as entrepreneurs to grow ourselves to a level so our business will grow to that level as well too. I've heard that our business will never outgrow ourselves. So what is the personal development plan? What are you reading? And again, Andrew, I'm sure we can go on and on and on about different books. And I literally have a reading list that I give new team members. And I'm like, here, start here. And they can go through it, pick whatever title resonates with you most. But what are you reading? What are you listening to? We drive in our cars to back and forth to work. My car is always going to have a podcast on. It rarely is the radio on unless someone's in it.
Me too.
Put it on and I'm like, fine, for 10 minutes, but other than that, it's always a podcast. It's something that's positive where I can control what's coming in. The other thing I'll leave and just wrap it up with this is, again, the news. Where so many people, before you go to bed, they're popping on the news. It's like, that's the worst time, because our subconscious mind is going throughout the night. And what is the last thing we're putting into our subconscious mind? I usually have some sort of podcast that I just fall asleep to, but at least I know what's going in while I'm asleep versus the TV's in the background. And all I'm hearing, unfortunately, is the negative news. And I'm not saying, pull a blanket over your head. We do have to be, know what's going on in the world, but you can search that out, in the middle of the day. I like to start my day positive, end my day positive, and the rest you can decide from there.
That's a really good point. And I've never heard that stat before. 87% of what we see in here is all negative news. I didn't know that. So that paints a picture. And as you were speaking there, I was thinking of some of my mentors who actively, I wouldn't say they pull a blanket over their heads, but they actively delegate X amount of time for affirmations, incantations, meditation, positive thoughts, positive feelings. And just by doing that act alone, now you don't even have time to watch the news. Now you don't even have time to absorb that negative stuff. There's more than enough of that going around. That's not the problem here. The problem is, and I mean, come on, at the time of this recording, there's a lot of negative stuff on the news right now in November 2017. And people could use some more positive energy out there. So yeah, Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And so moving on here, was there a certain part of your journey that you would consider the toughest part? Was there a low point that you could share with us, that maybe walk us through what you did to motivate yourself instead of trying another option? Because I find a lot of people fall off onto a tangent and get distracted.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of challenges again early on because you're growing a business. So especially in my situation, I went from, I had a job where I had a certain amount of income coming in. Yes, I was proactive and I started a coaching company. I was doing real estate, and then I started my business with Sendo cards. But at the same time, when all of a sudden that rug gets whipped from under you, that's a big shift. So definitely early on from a financial standpoint, it was that shift. And one of the things is I did get around other entrepreneurs, thankfully, so that when I was sharing with them, like, oh my goodness, some of those struggles and things not happening as quickly as I'd like, because in the beginning it's laying that foundation, planting seeds, and some of the seeds would grow a little bit, some of them, didn't grow at all. And so when I was going through some of those challenges in the beginning, I'm grateful that I had people around me. I actually joined, which, you're a fan of as well too, Business Networking International, BNI, and I joined that quite early on as well. And so I was around this group of entrepreneurs who I could share some of those challenges with, and they were able to just say, okay, you know what, we get it. And here's what you want to keep doing. You want to do more of this, get out more, network more. So rather than it being kind of oh no, what now? Let me just go back and get a job. It was, okay, this is all part of the growing. And I'll be totally transparent. There's going to be moments in everyone's, life in general where you're like, oh, you look over there and you're like, oh, I want to go over there. But you got to, again, focus on what is the reason that you're doing that? What is the reason that you're creating this? And one exercise that just, it inspired me all the time, and I always go back to it, is one of my good friends, Jordan Adler. We were at an event in Cancun, and he was sharing an exercise that he did that was really powerful for him, and it was called your perfect day. And so what you do is you literally take a moment, and I recommend that everybody does this, because this is something that will pull you through those challenging times. And the perfect day, what does that look like for you? And write it out. Take some time, take a couple hours, go to your favorite space, go for a walk, just go somewhere with a notepad and a pen. And what does your perfect day look like? Who are you spending it with? Where do you live? What does your career look like? What's your business look like? What's your income look like? What do you do? Who's around you? What are the activities you do? And just for that moment, you write out your perfect day from start till you close your eyes that night. And what does that look like? And I remember when we were in Cancun and I was writing it out, and it was so far-fetched from where I was when I was sitting in that chair in Cancun, thinking back to it, even just me as a person, how much I've grown from there. But it was such a powerful exercise, because you're putting away all the chat, you're just letting all that go and just dream. What does it look like for you? And just write it all out. And I have that perfect day, and that's something that drives me to keep, even when there was moments where I was like, oh my gosh, but I knew if I didn't keep going, that perfect day wouldn't happen, because that perfect day, a lot of it had to do with freedom. A lot of it had to do with freedom from time. When I say freedom, time freedom, to, when I was waking up and where I was living and who I was spending it with, and being able to donate and write checks to different organizations. And that wouldn't happen unless I kept moving forward in my business. So that kept driving me forward, and it still drives me forward. And I do that exercise as well too. Often I'll rewrite my perfect day. And it's, again, because every time you grow, you want to keep going, right? You want to keep going. So that's something I recommend everybody do. It's a powerful exercise.
I love it. Just quickly summarizing what you just touched on there, I noticed two very valuable points. One, there's going to be tough times, so surround yourself with the right people, right? Because I can't remember if this was Jim Rohn or who said this, but you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So take a really hard look at who you're spending your time with, and are they supporting you, or are they sharing positive energy with you, or are they dragging you down, right? So I would take a very hard look at who you're surrounding yourself with. And then the other point is what do you focus on, right? The law of attraction. Sitting down and writing out your ideal day, that has you now focusing on what the location you're going to. You mentioned the bus earlier, like, well, where's this bus going? What's your destination, right? A lot of people just get stuck in that cycle, that daily routine. Get up, do it again, get up, do it again, and you're not even looking at the destination. You're not looking at where you're headed, right? So yeah, fantastic. How much thought do you put in your personal brand, your persona? Is there any thoughts or energy that goes into that direction?
It's interesting, because that's a work in progress. I'm really big on being you. I mean, number one, just be you. You do you better than anyone else, right? So thankfully, again, the personal development that I realize, and this is one thing too, everybody has a story to share. Everybody has a voice, and you can impact. There's certain people, Andrew, that you're going to connect with, that your story is going to inspire them to do more, that only you can connect with. This is actually another friend and mentor of mine, Cody Bateman. He talks about the stories of your mind become the stories of your life. And he shares that you have people that are going to be in your life that only you can impact. And I'm not going to be able to impact them. So how can we be the best versions of ourselves and show up for the people that we come in contact with, or people who are our network, the people that we're around all the time? And so that's one thing that I just focus on, is growing myself to be the best Phebe Trotman that I can be, and then allowing myself to share that with other people, so that it can be that ripple effect. If I can, help one person or inspire one person to keep going one more day, or to share their story, and they can touch more people. And so that's just something that I really focus on and share that. So I don't know necessarily if I consciously focus on it from a standpoint of what can I do to touch more people, I really concentrate on the people that I'm around and the people I come in contact with every day, and how can I give them a smile or a word of encouragement or some sort of positive impact. That's why I'm such a fan of send out cards, whether I was a distributor or not, is because when you can send you can send a card to someone that just says, hey, I believe in you, or keep going, you're doing awesome. That ripple effect of how that changes that person's day and the people now that they come in contact you. You're literally paying gratitude forward. You're literally paying kindness forward. And it just continues to grow from there.
Good point. That's valuable. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that are. I don't want to say that they're not comfortable with who they are, but they're overly aware that they might not be that what's the word I'm looking for here? They might not be that satisfied with who they are, and they don't maybe want to put themselves out there. Maybe they're shy. Maybe they feel awkward. Maybe English isn't their mother tongue, and they're in this country, and they're nervous about that. There's all kinds of reasons, I guess, that someone will try to change what they're putting out there. But I think just being authentic and true to yourself, like you were saying, is the way to go, because you are going to attract the people that see value just by being yourself, right? So yeah, powerful stuff. Are there any specific habits or activities that are part of your routine that you think have contributed to your success? Based off of what you've already said so far, I think I have a couple ideas, but
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So starting your day, how do you start your day? What's your morning routine in the day? I think that's so important because it really does set the tone for your day. So whether I pray, whether other people want to pray, or you do whatever you want to do, but some sort of positive, take a moment for gratitude. What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? Because as you mentioned, we get what we focus on. So when you focus in gratitude and thankfulness, that's going to carry out throughout your day. What's your intention for the day? Even take a moment. I'll visualize a moment because I know what I have scheduled for my day. And I'll visualize how it's going to go and how everything's just going to flow smoothly. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to set that intention in the morning for that day. Depending on my schedule, I will sometimes work out in the morning. Sometimes it'll be later in the afternoon, sometimes the evening, but I will get some sort of movement in there as well too. I really believe it's important to if you want to create success, you have to feel great as well too. And so for personally, I like to work out in soccer. I still play soccer. So that's something else that I often do as well too. And to play soccer, you have to work out and run to be fit. So I make sure that I have time for that. Reading, again, making sure you're getting something positive that you're reading. Sometimes I'll do it in the morning, sometimes I'll do it at night, but I will do it. So I have certain things. My morning routine per se is definitely prayer, gratitude, affirmations, starting with that. And then I make sure that I do read at some point during the day. I'm also listening to a podcast or something. My car always has something positive that I'm listening to. So that's something that has been a habit of mine since, well, I think truly because of my parents, and they always had positive things going on. So it's funny because I used to joke with them when I was little. I was like, oh, we have to listen to that guy again. Oh my gosh, and then now it's just so I'm grateful to my parents for that, because I think that they instilled that at a very early age in terms of the importance of growth and reading and surrounding yourself with good people. And so those are some things. Affirmations, writing them, reading them, having those, I think is something that helps attribute success. And then consistency. What are the things that you have to do in your business consistently to create success? And everybody's business is a little bit different. So I won't go into exactly kind of what I do in terms of consistency for my business, but what are those money-making activities? And I truly think it's important to break your business down into what are your money-making activities, which are what actually creates income in your business, and what are those supplemental money-making activities. So the supplemental ones are ones you have to do them to get to the money-making activities, but they don't generate that cash flow right then and there. And so focusing on that, and then what number of activity of that are you going to do every day? And so, for example, if you're, you need to do a certain amount of invites to share your information. How many of those are you going to do every day? How much follow-up are you going to do every day? Networking. So I kind of break my day into those components, and I just make sure I always hit a certain number of that activity, whatever that specific money-making activity is every single day.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. Obviously, you and I both follow a lot of successful people out there, and there's definite patterns out there. Successful people tend to do very similar things. I think 80% of them, the last time I looked at the number, it was something about 80% of them have some kind of daily ritual that involved prayer or motivation or affirmations or incantations. So it's just another formula of success. Again, success leaves clues, right? Yeah, right on.
Absolutely. One thing too, Andrew, I'll just throw out there, because this is something I've been doing for the last couple of years and I've been teaching other people do, and I found it's helped a lot, is the beginning of the month. I love index cards. I'm still a big paper person. So what I do is I have an index card and I write the month, and then I pick 3 goals that I want to hit that month. So just 3 things. And again, I have my yearly goals and then I break them in. But so every month I have 3 things, bigger goals that I want to focus on. And at the bottom of the card, I write what the reward is going to be. So at the top, I say, in positive language, what the month is, and I write the 3 goals, and the bottom is the reward. And then I keep that in my wallet and my purse so that every time I see it, and that reminds me of what I'm focusing on. And then I break the activities down from there. So that's something anyone can do. I mean, get index cards, write it. What are your 3 goals? Write, pretty much the start of November. So it was perfect time to do it. And again, what are 3 things that you want to do this month? Write them down, whether it's fitness, health, spiritual, financial, business, relationship. Those are some things, and pick 3 of them, areas to focus on.
That's awesome. And I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard a long time ago that it's actually more valuable to you to handwrite it out versus type it on a computer. And the fact that you're looking at it every day is powerful as well, obviously, right? Because if I save a file on the computer, am I going to look at it every day? No, probably not really. But if it's in my wallet, I'm going to see it every day. So yeah, good point. Do you have any specific ways that you manage your business? I'm sure you have a lot of moving pieces, and I'm sure people would like to understand, how do you manage all of that?
Absolutely. So one of the things, plan out your day. So the night before, or even if you want to do it like the Sunday night for the week, what are the must-dos, right? So write them out. So what I often do the night before, I'll look at my calendar and what are things that are must-dos, and I'll put them at the top. What are the things that I want to make sure that are done by the end of the day? So I really believe it's important to plan your day out, or your day will take control of you. So you need to it's one of the things that I'll do the night before is kind of write out, who am I going to, if there's certain contacts I need to make, I'll write those out so that I know the next day what my activities are. The other thing is review your day. So, the night before I go to bed, I literally am like, okay, did I do what I said I was going to do today? Right. And again, I'm in network marketing. So I also have the question, if my team, how did I word it? Sorry. If my team did what I did today, would we be successful? So that's an accountability question on myself. Am I leading by example? So I think that's a question people can ask themselves before you close your eyes. Did you do something to move yourself closer to your dreams, right? Whether whatever that may be. So just before you go to bed, reflect on that. And if you didn't do something to move yourself forward, hop back out of bed and do something, right? It might just be, a quick email that you send to someone to schedule a meeting, especially if you're working something part-time on the side. It may be, with my team, like you may be hopping out of bed and sending a quick card, or now you can do it from your phone. So you can do it right then and there, but do something every single day that's going to move you closer to your dreams, to that perfect day. And if you didn't do that, that's important to reflect. How serious are you about creating that perfect day, or how serious are you about your goals? Because every single day you want to be doing something to move yourself forward. And I know everybody has busy schedules with family commitments and work, and then you have a business or investments on the side. And so everybody's schedule is busy. But how serious are you about making that perfect day your reality? And for those people who are, they're going to find a pocket in their day to do at least something every single day. And as you move forward, you're going to find, I always say this, when you set goals and you start taking action towards your goals will start taking action back to you.
I agree. And I've been guilty of this just like anybody else, where I'll say I'm too busy. I feel like it's a crutch. I think it's a crutch that a lot of people use, because you know what? Everybody's busy. And earlier on today, we were talking about obstacles and distractions. Successful people are not different. Successful people just have developed systems and ways to handle those obstacles and those hurdles to get past, right? And those daily rituals that you just touched on, that's a fantastic way to obviously make sure that you stay on course and you stay with it, right? So that you can actually increase your likelihood of success, right? So I love that. This next question is definitely a favorite of mine. How has your definition of success changed over the years, and how do you define success at the beginning versus how you would define it today?
Oh, great question. So one of the things in terms of success now, it's really about empowering other people. So my definition, my goal is just to be a blessing to people that I come into contact with, be a blessing to people that I meet, for team members and other people in my company or other people in network marketing professions. How can I inspire them to move forward, take one step forward? So that really for me is my definition of success is, am I making a positive impact on the people I come in contact with? Because I truly believe that when you're, and especially when you're having fun with what you're doing, people like having fun. And so that to me is my definition of success. Am I able to be there for my friends and be there for my family? And so it shifted a lot. And I think it's because life is so precious. I mean, unfortunately, my dad passed away a few years ago. And one of the things I'm so grateful that I did make that decision to take charge of my future, because I was able to be there every single step of the way, every single appointment, every single moment I was there. I was able to be there. And if I was working a 9 to 5, I would have I would have just quit probably. So, or I would have got fired, one of the two. And thankfully I was in a position to be there. I was in a position to be there. And again, I want to go back to, this is why I'm so passionate about residual income, is because there are going to be those horrible, horrible, awful things that all of us have to go through in life. And the last thing you want to think about is, oh, I got to go to work. Right? I was able to take that time. And there were days I did not want to get out of bed. Absolutely. Because it was awful. And thankfully, I was able to have that time. So for me right now, success is about being able to be there for my family. It's able to have that time. If a friend says, hey, I need you, that I can go. And so that's something that I want other people to have, that experience, and to be able to have choices in life. In the beginning, no, it wasn't about that. It was about very much a tunnel vision, a very different approach. And through growth, you realize what really matters in life. And what really matters is, how can we make an impact, a positive impact on the people that are around us.
So true. You just said it. I was just going to mention it, and then you mentioned it. Took the words right out of my mouth. It's choices. It's options. You've created an environment to give yourself choice and options. You haven't painted yourself into that corner that so many people unwillingly do. Right? They don't know that they're stuck, but they're stuck. You know, it's the whole unconscious incompetence. You know, you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
And it's those of us who've opened up our eyes and realized, no, wait a second. You know, there is a better way to do things, so that when the universe does throw us that curveball, we're not stuck going into work. Yeah, so that's a very
And the other
powerful
thing too I
example.
want to say as well, Andrew, is it's not even just so much, it's how you grow as a person. And that's the biggest thing. I honestly, and I shared this actually at a company event, I don't know if I wasn't in the environment that I was in through choices of my business and the people that I was around, I don't know how I would have made it through the worst experience I've ever had to go through in my life, that period of time. I honestly don't know. I don't know if I would be here right now because of the person that I was in the past. And I still was a very positive person for the most part. You know, I was around good people, but it was a different environment. And thankfully, the person that I've grown to was able to carry through that situation. Yes, it was tough. Yes, there was dark days. Yes, there was day, it was awful. But thankfully, the person that I am now and the person that I was throughout that was able to find outlets and be around other people who shared their experience with me. And that's the other thing. It's not always just about, hey, the income, hey, the time. It's how the people that you're around, because that's what's going to carry you through those challenging times. And being an entrepreneur and being a part of a network marketing company, I was around amazing people who just reached out, who just would, whereas other people get busy in life, and that's okay. That's their journey. But thankfully, it's also the environment that you're around as well too.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. Thanks for sharing that with us, Phoebe. Because yeah, I truly believe that this is I'm trying to remember what you mentioned earlier on there. You said your business can't out. How did you put it? Your business can't outgrow you.
Yeah, your business. I heard it from someone. Again, you guys, I listen to so much stuff. So it's like, learned it from someone, right? Success, there's clues, just, learn what you learned and reshare it. But yeah, it's your business will never outgrow you. So
Gotcha.
you have to grow yourself as a person, and your business will never outgrow you. So if you want to grow a successful business, you have to grow you.
Yeah, and the way the perspective I guess I'm looking at it from is like there's cause and effect. Like you also mentioned earlier on about, I want it now, I want it now. And I actually did a whole video on this on Blue Collar and Rich, delayed gratification versus instant gratification. But cause and effect, right? You got to put in the work first, and then you'll see the value. It's not the other way around, right? So for those of us that are, watching the video right now and they feel inspired, what are the first action steps that they should take? They end this video. What are the first things that they should do right away?
I would say, well, what do you want? What do you want in life? Take a moment and write out your perfect day. Take some time, and what does that look like for you? Because again, everybody has, and this is what I just love about people, is we're all have different desires, right? We all have different goals and paths to walk in life. So what does yours look like? What is it? And it's going to shift, it's going to change, it's going to evolve, it's going to grow. But as of right now, when you get off this, what does that look like to you? Do you, and write it out so that now you have kind of a framework, and now you can take steps forward. And if it's something where your perfect day revolves around having a lot of time and a lot of income in terms of resources, well, okay, how can you get there? What are some things you need to put in place in terms of making sure you're financially protected, insurance, making sure that you have someone to guide you on that path, finding mentors in different life. If you want to start a business, fantastic. Find a mentor, someone who's created success in business. If you want to start a business, find someone who's done that. So I think it's start working with the end in mind. Where do you want to go? And then what is the path you're going to take to get there? And it might evolve. When I first started, I thought, I was going to be this multi-million-dollar real estate investor. Like, that was my thought. And then I realized, I want to build teams of people and work with people and, inspire people. And so when I found network marketing, it made sense. And so I absolutely love what I do. And so it's finding what works and being open to realize that the path may shift, and that's okay, as long as the path is still taking you forward.
I love it. It's because not every strategy is going to work for everybody. We're all different. We're all wired differently. We're all different beings. So one strategy is not going to work for everybody. So that's one of the things that I like to talk about on this page, because I want to give people lots of access to lots of resources, so that there's no excuse. There's no excuse that, in fact, if there is an excuse, the only excuse is that there's too much information out there. The hard part is just narrowing it down to see what works for you, right? So Phebe, I really enjoyed this interview. You have a magnetic personality, and I consider myself lucky to call you a friend. And it's been an amazing session here with you. If people want to learn more about you, how can they reach you? How can they contact you?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Andrew. I mean, from the first time we met, I was like, you are awesome. We're going to be friends. So I truly appreciate everything, and just your giving heart to give and serve and to inspire people. So thank you for creating this platform for people to learn and grow. So I am available on Facebook. You can search Phebe Trotman, Phebe with no O, Phebe, Trotman. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm working on the whole Instagram presence, so that'll be there sooner than later as well too. But absolutely feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. One of the things too, Andrew, I wanted to do, because I'm such a big believer in reading and growing, and I have some copies of 2 books that absolutely were huge for me in terms of keeping me inspired. And I often go back to them. If I'm having one of those challenging days, I'll literally just open a chapter and read it. And so what I wanted to do for everybody, well, for people who are watching, unfortunately I won't be able to do for everybody, but for people who take action, because I'm a big believer in taking action right away. If you take action, add me on Facebook, send me a private message, and I'll do, my soccer number is 4, so I'm going to do 4 of each. Beach Money. So this is the book about my friend Jordan Adler wrote. It's a phenomenal book all about creating your dream lifestyle as an entrepreneur so you can make money from the beach. And he talks about writing your perfect day in here. So this is an awesome, awesome book, Beach Money by Jordan Adler. And then, yes, sometimes it is about the money, by one of my other good friends and mentors, Steve Schultz. And this book is all about the journey that you're going to have to go through as an entrepreneur. So this one, you asked about some of the challenging moments that I had. Fortunately, I didn't have too many. in this book, you're going to read a lot of them. And so it's going to keep you inspired. And one of the parts that I love about this book is at the end, he has his children write their perspective, growing up, having a dad as an entrepreneur who was able to be there and be at events and things like that. So these are 2 amazing books. Beach Money, yes, sometimes it is about the money. So the first, we'll do 4 and 4. So first, people who message me, we'll do 4 Beach Money, and then 4, yes, sometimes it is about the money. And so message me, and then I'll get your address and I'll pop it in the mail for you, just as a way to say thank you. And one thing I'm going to ask though, after you read it, because you're going to find value in it, pay it forward. Read it, sign a little note, and give it to someone else and let someone else read it, so that it doesn't just stop with you. Read the books, take action on what you learn in the books, write a note, whoever you feel inspired, and pay it forward a little bit further.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Phebe. That's valuable. I haven't even read those books, so
okay, well then we're going to start with you. I'm going to bring them to you next time I see you.
Thank you for making my to-do my to-read list even longer, because
happy to help.
that list, it doesn't get shorter. It just keeps getting longer and longer. So I got 2 more books to add to the list, but that's amazing. Incredibly gracious of you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to hear some of the followers reaching out to you and getting their copies. But I really enjoyed this interview. This is a powerful system that I think people should leverage and take advantage of. No more one and done. If you're looking for a way to increase your financial inflow and give yourself those options and improve as a person and develop that personal mindset, so that you can look at the world with some better eyes and give you and your family more options. Highly recommend for you guys to reach out to Phebe and keep following the page. I'm always posting lots of content, giving people as many options as I can that I can see value in. But thank you so much for being here, Phebe. You were a riot to interview, and can't wait to see you soon.
Thanks so much, Andrew. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Right on, Phebe. Thank you so much for being on Blue Collar and Rich. I know I got a ton of value out of our conversation. I'm sure the audience did as well. And there you go, guys. She's willing to give you guys some free books for the first few people who reach out to her. So please don't waste any time with that. I know I can't wait to read those books myself. If you guys saw some value in this video, click that like button. Leave me a comment if you got a question for myself or for Phebe. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. Take care, guys. Have a great day.